We will not get an alt season until we have this move. I'm expecting a major crash in the market. We need to be prepared. This is exactly what I'm going to be doing to make sure that I get in at the right prices to make sure I can at least 10x on my crypto. I'm using the ICT strategy to trade crypto. So what I'm going to be doing now is breaking down the total market cap chart and tell you exactly where I'll be looking, where the market will be going, and this will align very well with all the altcoins and also Bitcoin. So first things first, we've closed the monthly candle of August as a wick. This looks like a doji candle. So what we can see is, let's mark up all the key areas right now. First things first, we've had this break of market structure. We've broken it, we closed below. This is a really key sign for us that the fact that we've closed below this break of market structure as a wick, as a doji below it, number one. The second thing that I'm looking at is this dealing range here. So what we can see on the monthly time frame, we are within this dealing range. The first thing that I can see right now is when I use this dealing range, the 50% level is around 3.25 trillion. I need the total market cap at minimum to get to this level, to get to the 0.5 level, where we will then buy at discount rates. We will go on the lower time frame to look into this a bit more. This is a safe bet scenario. This is the bare minimum of what I'm expecting of where price can go. 3.25 trillion. On the weekly time frame, we can actually refine two different forms of dealing ranges. Dealing range number one is the monthly dealing range, and then this dealing range that we have down here is on the weekly dealing range. So what I can see is a couple of fair value gaps. Let's mark them out. So number one, number two. What I can also see are order block areas. So let's mark out these order blocks. Notice how price on the weekly time frame has this order block, which aligns very well with the monthly 50% dealing range, bringing it into the discount side. So what am I expecting right now? There's not much else to see on the weekly time frame, except we are still in a bullish trend. You can see a bullish trend on the weekly. You can see a bullish trend on the monthly. If we break the lows of this, I would then be expecting a bearish trend. However, I do not expect that to happen on the monthly time frame. On the weekly time frame, I would need at least this area here to get broken for us to then be in a weekly downwards trend. However, on the monthly time frame, I would need to see this break to then confirm a downwards trend. That's very, very unlikely to happen. What I'm actually expecting is for price to pull back, a deep pullback. And what you can see down here is a market maker buy model at play. So this is the buy side of the curve. And then this is the sell side of the curve. We're in a very large market maker sell model as things are right now. You can refine this even further on the weekly time frame as a market maker model down here as well. So here is the original consolidation. We have the buy side here, and then we'll potentially have the sell side here, taking out liquidity from below. So there's three key areas that I'm looking at right now where I want price to go. Number one is I'm expecting the total market cap to get around the regions of 3.57 to 3.3, call it 3.4. That's my first area that I want to target. The second area that I'm looking at is for price to actually go a bit more deeper into the regions of 2.84 to 2.7. Those are two key areas that I'm expecting. Now let's think about this from a psychology level. We are not going to get an alt season at this price right now, at where price is right now, because everyone is expecting price to go up from here. Everyone thinks we are moving up from here. We are in a neutral position right now. There is no fear, there is no greed. So people are not expecting a pullback because they think we are currently in a bullish market and we will be moving ahead and taking out the highs. However, what we would like to see from a psychology perspective is price move down into these key regions where we would then cause extreme fear in the market. And when we get extreme fear, people would then end up getting liquidated. There are people buying and they've longed their positions and they will get liquidated. So we want price to liquidate all of these buyers around these key regions, all around here. So that's the first thing that I'm looking at on the total market cap chart. If we go on the daily, what we can see is we are still in a bullish trend. It's very, very likely we're going to break this and then go into a bearish trend. I want to see this broken. And you can also see down here a market maker sell model at play. So here's the original consolidation. Here is the buy side of the curve. Here is the sell side. But what I would like to see is for price to continue going down, sweep liquidity down here, and then have a pullback. That's option number one on the daily time frame, what I can see. Option number two, potentially what we can see is you can see these liquidity areas down here. We've taken out previous week's low already. We've swept it. So option number two could be we have these key areas here. Here's an order block. We have a fair value gap here. These are weak highs all along here as well. Given the fact that we've already swept liquidity on the daily time frame, we can move up from here. We can get this sweep of liquidity and then we'll get the bigger move down. In an ideal scenario, I would rather see this, because what would happen is we would then end up getting more people on the wrong side of the market, where people then end up buying more thinking that the alt season is here now. But really and truly what's happened is we've just had a pullback for price to then take out all of this liquidity for price to move lower. When we do get this sweep of this initial liquidity, we could get a pullback. And you can see then we'll have a break off market structure. We'll get the pullback and then we'll then finally fulfill this larger market maker sell model. So the key regions that I'm looking at and where I'll be buying most of my altcoins are below this 50% dealing range on the discount side of this dealing range. So where I'll look specifically is around 2.85 trillion to 2.7 trillion. That would be one area that I look at. The second area that I can look at is if we refine some key areas at the 50% dealing range. So we can see around here we have fair value gap. We've got an order block on the weekly time frame down here. So I would look around the regions of around 3.25 to 3.14. So around this region is my first buy. This will then be my second buy. Let's go on the Bitcoin chart and see what we are looking at right now. So on the monthly time frame, of course, we are in a bullish trend. We've created a potential top down here. We've had a very strong bearish close on the monthly time frame of August. What we can expect potentially is for price to come up, take out some form of liquidity, and come back down into our key regions. Our first region is looking at around 100K. If we do get mass liquidations below that, I will be looking at around 90K, but we will refine that on the weekly time frame. So let's just mark up the key regions down here on the monthly time frame. So what we can see is this dealing range down here on the monthly time frame, and then we have a fair value gap exactly at around 95 to 97K. So let's just mark that out. And then on the weekly time frame, we can then see there are a couple of order blocks. So we've got one order block down here, which we'll mark out. And we also have some order blocks lower down as well. Let's mark out the fair value gaps now. So we have one fair value gap down here. We've got this monthly fair value gap down here as well. So what we can see on the weekly time frame, again, is a potential market maker sell model. I don't expect this to get fulfilled specifically because we're so far away from it. And if that is the case, I would expect total market cap to go below 2 trillion. But what we can see is this market maker sell model. So this could potentially be the buy side of the curve and this could be the sell side. And you can see around 100K is where we have the original consolidation. On the daily time frame, you can see this a bit better. So what we can see on the daily time frame is original consolidation, buy side, sell side. That's what I can see right now. What we can pair this with is a couple of key regions. So usually what I do is I use key points on the OTE level. So I've got a swing low here to a swing high here. What we can potentially see is if we do cross the barrier of 100k and continue going lower, we would then look around the regions of 93 to 94k around the OTE level. This will be a very good buy for BTC to then go higher, and the regions I'm targeting are around 140 to 160k. So on the daily time frame, what we can see is BTC has been sweeping liquidity and we've been coming down. We do need some form of retracement. These are weak, low resistance highs. I do expect BTC to come back up into a key region, and the regions that I'm looking at are either around 114k or 120k. And why is that? Because what I can see down here is if we mark up a fib from here to here, we can see the OTE level 61.8 to 78.6 is around the regions of 118 to 121k. So that would be the ultimate target for a very good short if BTC does pull back up. The other region where I'm looking will be around 114k. So if we mark out some key areas down here, so we have an order block, and then we also have a fair value gap above down here, which is around 114 to 115k. So those are the key regions that I'm looking at right now. So number one is down here, and number two is we come back up to 118 to 121, and then we'll get the bigger move down. So the key thing to focus on is when we do get the move on total market cap chart, we would then look to dollar cost average as we move down around these key regions, around 3.15 to 3.2, around 2.85 to 2.7. As we come down, we should start dollar costing average on our altcoins. Specifically, I've mentioned it in a couple of other videos. I'm looking at algo, I'm looking at travel, I'm looking at virtuals. Go check out the videos that I've posted previously to understand how you can 10x your crypto, specifically on the altcoins. If you like these videos, please can you like, share, and comment. I do daily videos like this, trading the ICT strategy.